How's it going, everybody? This is Brett here, and I wanted to continue something from yesterday that stuck in my mind, and I noticed it, and I wanted to go and have another look at this. It's to do with DB Cooper. Someone sent this postcard in, and then in 1990, this person tried to look like the Zodiac. So a quick look at this card that I found interesting. Once again, this T, how it is shaped sort of like a reverse J. And I suspect, like Zodiac, he altered letters to have hybrid lettering, which I named them. As I like to point out, this flat-sided 0 here, which is very unique. And also this 8 for Washington. Again, is he trying to show a message? And as I like to point out, that in my opinion, these are like little 8s inside as a symbol for the Z13 cipher. So that's a bit suspicious. But once again, with this card here, how he's got a similar T here to the ones that we just looked at. And also, as I was pointing out, that with the Zodiac letters, or this letter here, that this author put a capital R where there should be a lowercase r. So here we've got the word murdered, we've got an uppercase R and a lowercase r. There. I wonder if there's any more. Let's have a quick look. You could argue here lowercase e's with an uppercase r, and so on. And as I like to point out, the person wrote whoever and put EV and then ever, like in my opinion Earl Van. And once again, but he's supposed to be dead like 6 years prior to this letter being sent. And as I speculated, did he fake his own death that many others have done? Like in regards to my old video, we can have another quick look at that. But we'll just stick on this for the time being. Yes, and so, as I said, with the DB Cooper case, someone sent these letters in as well. And to me, that just looks like Evan. And as I was saying yesterday, it says, I will not give you my name. And it's got the word because. And if you flip the N, you get VN, like Evan backwards. And that looks similar to these letters here. What are the odds of that? I'm just saying. And here's the sample here that Zodiac indeed flipped the N around with knife, which is the 14th letter. Once again, Earl Van Best married a 14-year-old lady. The skeleton, in my opinion, obviously has a love heart in his eye for I love 14, and something like that. And so another thing I did here, like as I pointed out, that Earl here wrote Francisco with gaps. So this is the original thing. This is another Francisco in here with gaps, and the other time he spelt it here again with gaps. So 3 times he used cursive writing using gaps. Also here, look at this flat-sided 0. So here Earl has got a flat-sided 0 here. And where else? And you could argue if that's a flat-sided 0 there as well. And so, and as I like to point out, that these letters here, as I like to say, the Donna Lass letter, Strange or Grange, has got gaps in the cursive writing. He wrote Guardian again with gaps in cursive writing, and even the word Donna. And ironically, that, as I like to highlight, that the Hoover letter has got these gaps. As I say, gaps here, gaps in California, and there are others on that letter. And with this Hoover letter here, that the author not only had the gaps, but used the capital R's where there should be a lowercase r. Like here, California, like that's a uppercase R. And is that a habit? And as I like to illustrate that, have I got it here? I'll have to go back to here. And once again, this is Earl Van Best's social security form when he was, however old he was, and he, like here, put an uppercase R at the end of a word, like September. So we've got an uppercase R there, and we've got street, like he's got ST, and then uppercase R there. And for junior, most people will put a capital J and a small r there. And Earl at 15 also did exactly that, which I just highlighted there. And so, and as I said, like another unique thing that I have done is how Earl wrote Judith. So this is the word here, Judith. Okay, this is where I'm getting it from. So you can do exactly the same thing I am doing and come to your own conclusions. So we've got Judith there, and then we'll go back to this word here, which is killer. And I only did this to overlay these letters. So I printed this out, and I printed out Judith, and I was only overlaying. I wasn't prepared for it to be so similar. And I got a lamp and I overlaid them, but here I put like killer, how they sort of go up like this. And down, and then long, and then sharp, and long and sharp, and this is the same. And I overlaid them, and like you can see how, in my opinion, that's close to perfect. How up, down, long, down, short, and like that. And I just moved them about just lightly away from each other to show the similarity, so you can see how I just shifted it a bit, so you can see what I am trying to illustrate. Shifted it up like that. So one word is killer, the other one is Judith. And when you fully overlay it, you can come to your conclusions yourself by doing exactly this. And as I like to say, that Earl Van Best, again, the 340 gets solved. It's called tough luck, and the pivot mark, as I say, ZO Junior, Earl Van Best's name appears. As I like to say, 340 cipher. Gary Stewart used the V in best, but actually I used the V here and spells Van Best Junior, ZO. And as I like to show, you put 408 keys. Here you get Earl Best, Van Best, Earl Van, and it appears the same way. If you get the character keys and the solve keys and the 408, this appears using 5 keys only, spelling an entire name. You minus an A, but you know, you could get away with that. And someone says, oh, you could do anyone's name like that. And I say, well, you try and you tell me if you can or cannot. And that's my challenge. Like people just say, oh, anyone could do that. Well, as I like to say, you can do it. As I like to highlight here, that the Zodiac wrote best with VE there. The Zodiac finished the 408 cipher with the E symbol, followed by VE, which was best. The reverse R equals R, and the J equals the X in the symbol. So symbol X equals J in the 408. So it's like E Best Junior shortened there. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this guy just has to be the Zodiac. If anyone wants to admit it or not, that's just life. And as I like to point out, once again, that the errors, the word fan, which should be fun, and slaves is errored it with slaver. But again, the R and A equals ZO with the character key. So what are the odds the errors are Z and O? And as I said, the in the 408, I claim this was by Earl. You have to see my other video, but it's got RA, so ZO, and the word fun with a T symbol, and using the solve keys. So this did not get solved until almost 50 years, give or take, and these words with next to ZO spell best in the other cipher with the word fun, because he even wrote, I would like to have fun, and even wrote the word fun twice in both ciphers, and that word is used to spell best. And as I like to point out, the best wishes key had FKLM, and the Zodiac only used it as one of the keys. I think it was the reverse Q was an M, but why add all these keys? And as I like to point out, let's see here, we'll go to original 340, as I say, reverse Q here. And this is another thing, it's got the FK symbol L, but you could argue L there, but I found it funny that it's surrounded by the J's, J for Judy, FKLM. There's L there, there was a symbol L for the 408. So what's the odds of that FKLM surrounding the Q? And once again, as someone pointed out, the reverse Q down here, somewhere down here, has got the M next to it. Where can we find a reverse Q? Here it is, here. And this has got the other one, so FKLM. And so the Q was the M in the other key, but the other Q's got FKLM. So this tells me best wishes is indeed the Zodiac. And we'll go back to DB here. So once again, we're going to focus on this 8, Washington G8. And then, as I said with the best wishes key, if you look down the bottom, he's got these numbers here. Again, flat-sided 0 like Earl has with the best wishes. So we've got a flat-sided 0 and we got 0, 1, 8. So Judy Chandler's birthday is the 10th of the 8th. So those numbers, although are they mirrored or upside down, I'm not sure. If you turn it upside down, does that come out 10, 8? You tell me, like the Zodiac here with the 0, 8s with this. And as I like to point out, we'll go here. Yep. And in this cipher here, you go down 10 spaces and 18, you get this L-shaped Judy. In the 408, these were E's. So you could argue FOR, reverse flip, that becomes T, N. So you got 14 surrounding. So Judy appears 10 rows in. And this L shape is how the 340 was solved. It followed that exact pattern. So this name is appearing like that. And then on top of that, as we can see here, to die by best. So how E best appears in the 340, also, I mean in the 408, like the B, T, and that symbol here, there's only 3 appear in the 340. So how E best appears in one cipher is appearing in the other cipher. So what are the odds of that, you tell me. And on top of that, with that Judy section, to die by E best. And as paradise and other words in the 340 were spelled backwards with the final solve, you tell me. And as I like to highlight here, the top LVAN ZO site in the 340, again you can check this yourself. I flipped the C, I flipped the L, I added 408 key, so you got Van Earl coming there, and then you get the word Chandler, which is his wife's name. So what are the odds of that appearing? Again, I added the H, A, N, D, E, R are all 408 keys, so only the C and the L are flipped, so to speak. And as I like to point out, that both of these ciphers have this boy pattern, and the 408 has sort of, like the Y is different, but to me is still pretty similar with this, with that boy there, and then there, and then this one has got the G there, like 2 from the F, 2 from the G, and then you add that like that, and you get that. And as I said, this spells sun here, using 408 keys. As I said, that becomes the Y, that becomes the B, so you got the word BY, by, appearing here. And as I said, the word boy here, these are O symbols, O symbol with a dot, and there's more. There's another one here as explained somewhere, and then as I like to point out, that the Tosky letter, that's where else I was going to go with this video. So we'll go to, where is my file gone? Yeah, so this is back on the Tosky ladder that or because it names Toski, that it is fake. But as I said, once again, the Best Wishes card literally names Sergeant, I think it was Sergeant Lynch or someone, who was mentioned by name. And so Sergeant was mentioned by name 3 days after the 340 was solved, and even you could argue 10 years before the Toski letter, 8 years, whatever the date is, we got that there. And once again, that the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letter once again mentions Chief Piggy Ed Davis. So again, 8 days apart, and then the Toski letter is mentioned, that City Pig. So one is Chief Piggy and City Pig Toski. So straight away using pig and a person's name. Oh, here we got another one. Chief Piggy Daryl Gates and ex-Chief Piggy Ed Davis. And here we got Pig Toski. So once again, this is reflecting the same person. And as someone else pointed out, they came from the same stamp set at Kid. As I observed myself, they both of these letters put, who will play me, I am now in control, and the other letter, remember whoever plays me. So once again, 2 letter writers, same sort of similar sentences, picky police, picky this, and about who's going to play him in a movie. And as I found, trying to solve the 340, as I said myself, we got the boy pattern here appearing with these like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the 2, the 3 and the 4 and the gap. This goes down 6. Both ciphers have this pattern, especially the 340. And here it is again, how it is done, like the 2 and the 3, the 3 and the 4, etc, etc. The 1 and the 1, you could argue with this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All good children go to heaven. As I say, only Zodiac knows this. And I discovered it trying to solve the 340 using my ideas. And so this shows that this letter could be true. And as I like to keep telling everybody, I've been asking the San Francisco Police Department to explain this, that Tom Voigt did say it's legit. It says DNA sample obtained, not authentic letter, in regard to the Toski letter. And so, and as I learned that they got us, I've heard like swapping outside the envelope, they got a hit, so she could have said, oh gee, that doesn't match that one, not authentic. But what I have presented here can give it credibility, and as I like to say, I just want to know if L. Van Best Jr. wrote this letter, and this solves Zodiac once and for all. So thank you for listening to another rant of mine. I have looked closely at what I present, and have a good day.